In the small town of Willowbrook lived a friendly dog named Max. He was a golden brown terrier mixed with floppy ears, a wagging tail and 4 paws that loved nothing more than to walk. Every single day, Max's owner, a boy around 10 years old named Billy Eilish, would wake up early, put on his shoes, and grab his leash as he prepared to take his dog for their daily stroll to the local park. Now, normally this would be a perfectly mundane part of their day, just a boring dog-walking montage where we don't need to focus too much on the details. Just imagine them walking down the street together and Max sniffing every single fire hydrant along the way. But here's the funny part. While all dogs in Willowbrook crossed the street however they pleased, Max would always wait patiently at the bus stop like a good little passenger. Then when the bus approached, he'd look both ways, then cross the street diagonally when the coast was clear. He even waited for the other passengers to get off before trotting up to the driver and saying hello with a wet, sloppy kiss on the cheek. The bus drivers adored him, although they did ask him to please stop doing that because it was getting a bit hard to maintain their cool, professional demeanor while passengers giggled at the antics of the adorable talking dog. So now instead, Max simply greeted the bus driver from the sidewalk and wagged his tail until the vehicle moved on. Then he'd turn to Billy and say, "Well, let's go. Buses are always late." Without fail, Billy would roll his eyes at his dog's bad attitude, but couldn't help but agree, "Yeah, you're right, Max. Buses really are always late." And then they continued their walk to the park. But one morning, something unusual happened. Billy woke up earlier than usual, got dressed, grabbed his leash, and headed downstairs. But when he called out for Max, his dog didn't come. Confused, he walked out into the backyard, but there was no sign of his canine companion. Thinking that maybe Max had simply wanted to play fetch in the front yard, Billy went back inside, grabbed a tennis ball, and walked out the front door. There was still no Max, so Billy just stood there and called out for his dog. "Max, come here, boy. Come on, buddy. I have a ball." But not even the promise of playing fetch could lure Max out from his hiding spot. So Billy shrugged, sat down on the curb outside his house, and waited for his dog to come to him. A few minutes passed, then 10, then 15, and soon Billy began to get worried. Had Max gotten lost? Was someone else trying to take care of him? Or heaven forbid, had something terrible happened to him? Billy didn't know what to do, so he decided to follow Max's favorite route to the park and see if he could find his dog along the way. As he walked down the street, Billy noticed all the familiar landmarks that Max loved to sniff on their daily walks. There was Mr. Williams' house, whose flowers Max never failed to greet with a hearty sniff. Then there was Mrs. Peabody's house, who always gave Max a treat when she saw him passing by. And finally, they reached the bus stop, where Max liked to wait for the bus. And sure enough, there was Max sitting patiently by the bus stop, like a good little passenger waiting for his ride to the park. Only this time, Billy noticed that the bus was already late. It was usually punctual to the minute, but today it was running about 10 minutes behind schedule. So Max was beginning to get restless. He paced back and forth, then sat back down and started wagging his tail as people walked by and smiled at the adorable dog waiting for the bus. But Billy couldn't help but feel a mixture of relief and anger. Relief that his dog was okay, but angry that Max had disobeyed him and not come home when he was called. He knelt down beside his dog and said, "You really scared me, Max. I thought I'd lost you forever. Don't ever do that again." Max looked up at his owner and wagged his tail, then stood up and barked once to show that he understood. Then suddenly, the sound of a bus turning the corner broke the silence. Both Billy and Max looked up as it pulled over to a stop in front of them. Billy felt a wave of sympathy for his dog. After all, they were already late, so he might as well enjoy the ride. Plus, it wasn't entirely his fault. The bus was late. So maybe if he acted natural, Billy could sneak onto the bus with Max and surprise his mom with an extra special present when they got home. After all, she'd be so happy to see her furry grandson again after he helped her fix the leaky faucet. So Billy and Max took a deep breath, looked both ways, then dashed across the street and jumped onto the bus. The driver looked at them in surprise, but before he could say anything, Billy explained that they needed to get to the park quickly because they were already late. And wouldn't you know it, the bus driver actually agreed to drive them straight to the park without making any stops along the way. As they pulled up to the entrance, Billy thanked the bus driver profusely, then grabbed Max's leash and hurried his dog off the bus and toward the park. "Thank you, Mr. Driver," Billy shouted as he ran. "We won't be late again, promise." And with that, he and Max disappeared through the park gates. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Billy threw the tennis ball for Max, who caught it in his mouth and proudly brought it back to his owner. They played hide and seek amongst the trees, then enjoyed a picnic lunch that Billy's mom packed for them. Max lapped up some water from a nearby fountain before chasing some ducks around the pond. It was almost like the perfect day, except for one small problem. When Billy and Max arrived home, Billy's mom was furious. "You were supposed to be home 2 hours ago," she exclaimed. "Why are you just getting back now?" Billy tried to explain that the bus was late, but his mom wouldn't hear it. "That doesn't matter," she said. "You should have told me where you were going so I could come and get you." Billy hung his head in shame, knowing that he deserved his mom's scolding. Then something unexpected happened. Max trotted up to her and licked her hand, then barked twice, which in dog language meant, "Don't worry, I'm fine. It was my fault. I made him stay longer at the park." Mom's stern expression softened, and she knelt down beside Max, scratching him behind the ears. "Oh, you sweet boy," she said. "I'm sorry I got so mad at you. It's just that I was worried." And with that, Billy's mom hugged his dog tightly before turning to Billy and giving him a tight hug as well. "I'm sorry I yelled at you, honey," she said. "I was just worried because you weren't home when you said you'd be. But seeing these two of you makes me realize how lucky I am to have such an adventurous son and a brave dog who always looks after him." From that day on, Billy and Max were known throughout Willowbrook as the boy and his dog, who always took the bus to the park. In fact, the whole neighborhood knew Max as the bus stop dog. And every morning they waved to him as he waited patiently for the bus with his best friend, Billy. The end. Sometimes small daily habits make you a friend to everyone.